Hello, this is another short video in Wolof grammar. This time it will be on the past tense, and the way I presented the future tense, I will try to have the structure, a few examples, and the summary. For this particular case though, we will see that there is a slight difference between when the verb ends with a consonant and when the verb ends with a vowel. It's not that of a big difference, but it's something very significant to pay attention to. And I will wrap up with the summary. Thank you. For the structure of the past tense, I also want to start from the now form in the present tense. If you remember, when I was presenting the future, I also did start with the now form to just create the connection between the now structure and the form of the future, where you just add D before the now structure. So again, here I want to start with the now form in the present tense. The example I have here is the verb gis, to see. When I conjugate gis in the present tense with the now form, I will have gisna, I see, gisnga, you see, gisna, he sees or she sees, gisnanu, we see, gisngeen, you all see, gisnanyu, they see. So I wanted to start from that with the now form in the present tense. Gisna, gisnga, gisna, gisnanu, gisngeen, gisnanyu. Now when it comes to the past tense, what I just had in the present tense for the now form can be the beginning or the foundation for the past tense, where you only have the verb and then you add the tense marker for the past, which is this on. You add the tense marker of the past, which is on, to the verb, and then you add the structure of the now form. However, and that will be the second example I will be giving, if you have a verb that ends with a vowel, the tense marker becomes worn, and basically that's just to make the pronunciation easier, because if the verb ends with a vowel and you have on, which is the regular tense marker of the past, then you have two vowels there and you don't know how to deal with that. So I guess that might be the reason why there is the W instead of on. If the verb ends with a vowel, then you have worn. And it's going to be maybe clear in these two examples, or at least in this first example. So I want to keep still with the verb we already have, gis, to see. If you already watched the video on the future, you also saw that I picked this example with the verb gis. I just want to make it maybe easier to remember. If you have a student that's following all of the videos, then that can be a good pattern of retention, or easily remembering some of the rules if you stick with one verb. I could pick other verbs, but just maybe for the sake of that, it can be helpful. Gison na tolu, I saw tolu. Gison nga tolu, you saw tolu. Gison na tolu, he or she saw tolu. Gison nanu tolu, we all saw tolu. Gison ngeen tolu, you all saw tolu. Gison nanyu tolu, they saw tolu. Now, if you see here the difference that I was talking about in the beginning, when trying to start from the na form in the present before going to the past tense, then you see that what is the basic difference is here. in the tense marker of the past, which I just emphasize here in red, on. So the verb, the tense marker, and then don't forget the regular na structure. These have the meaning of subjects. So gisoon na, I saw, gisoon nga, you saw, gisoon na, she or he saw, gisoon nanu, we saw, gisoon ngeen, you all saw, gisoon nanyu, they saw. Now again, I always try to compare to another language. This case we have English. So try to pay attention if you're already an English speaker, or if you speak English as a second language, or as, I don't know, third or whatever language. Try to compare, to just have a sense of how the structure is, is put, whether the verb comes before the subject, or you have the subject before the verb, something like that. So in this context for Wolof, you have verb, subject, and object. Gisoon na tolu would be like gisoon is the verb, or the verb in the past. Then na has the meaning of a subject, I, and tolu is the object. In the English context, you have subject, verb, object. The second example is with a verb ending with a vowel. Now, if you remember, when I go back, this here we have a verb ending with a consonant. It just goes straight with the tense marker, which is on. When you have a verb now ending with a vowel, the tense marker is still on, but to make the pronunciation, I mean, that's my how do you call it? That's my guess, that because of the consonant, because of the vowel, then you have W just in between the two vowels to make the pronunciation easier. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I'm at least implying here. The example I have here for the verbs, or the kinds of verbs ending in the vowel, is tukki, tukki, to travel, tukki. As you see, it ends with an I, or well, in English I, but in Wolof it's I, tukki. For that, when I conjugate it in the past, instead of me saying tukki on na, I just put W in between the last vowel of the verb and the tense marker, which is on. So somebody can argue that both on and won are actually the tense markers of the past, because you do have them as the verbs. Someone else can argue that the regular tense marker is on, but as all rules have exceptions, if you have a verb that ends with a vowel, then you have won instead of on. So I think either way, both of those arguments could stand. I traveled to Ibadan. Tukki woon na Ibadan. Tukki woon nga Ibadan. Tukki woon na Ibadan. Tukki woon nanu Ibadan. Tukki woon ngeen Ibadan. Tukki woon nanyu Ibadan. So the only thing that changes here is just the W before the tense marker, making it won instead of on. But basically you have, the same thing. Whether the verb ends with a consonant or a vowel, then you basically have the same thing. The verb, then you add the tense marker of the past, then the subject, then the object. So to basically sum up, I suggest that you always start with something that you already know and that's more foundational than what you're studying currently. In this example, we tried to go from the now form in the present before going to the rule of the past tense. So another example I pick here with is with the verb kham, which is to know. Kham nanu ko, we know him, or we know her, or we know it. If you remember, I said, I think in the video on the future tense, with an example, that Wolof has gender neutral patterns, meaning that there are contexts where you have one word to refer to both a female or a male, or to a feminine or a masculine, context. And here is one of those contexts. Ko is an object pronoun. It's the same for direct and indirect object pronouns. So ko here is him or her or it. It could also mean to him, to her, if you were referring to English in a sense. So hamna nuko, we know him, we know her, or we know it. If I am doing it in the past, for example here, khamon nanu ko, we knew it. So because this ends with the consonant khamon nanu ko, we know it. The second example I have is with the verb jangi, which means to go to study. Jang means to study. Jangi means to go to study. If you add, in the derivation in Wolof, if you add I or E to a verb, it means to go and do something. So jang meaning to study or to learn. Sometimes it also can mean to read. It's the same word that's used for that. So when I say jangi, it's actually I go to study, or I am going to read, I am going to do this and that. Jangi wona, she or he went to study. So because jangi ends with a vowel, instead of on, then I have won. And always remember, do not forget the structure of the na form that goes with this. So jangi wona, the na refers to he or she or it. If you remember the na form, it's the third one. So jangi wona, she went to study, or he went to study. Anyway, that was a short presentation of the past tense. Again, you have the verb and you add the tense marker of the past, which is on. If you have a verb ending with a vowel, it's won instead of on. Then you add the subject referring to the na form. It's just we're using this as an example, but in other contexts you can have something different in how it is structured. But I'm not going to go deeply into those details. In the other videos, I will present in other aspects of the grammar, the conjugation, or anything else. Then I will give more examples for those other forms. But anyway, I hope this one was helpful. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.